But generally, what do you think?
I like him. I've liked him from day one. I think he comes across really well. I think he's bright. Yeah, I do think he's got some resilience. I do think they're still a bit away from competing. And ultimately, I think this is his big year. I think if he fails to deliver a trophy of any worth this season, I think he'll be done.
Well, we know he's just signed a new contract. We know they failed in the Europa League final against Villarreal. We know that, and they're a bit off from winning the title yet. We know that as well. But Solskjaer is saying, Simon, this is what it's about here. You have to show you have a strong mental character. I couldn't be the manager of Manchester United if I wasn't strong-minded. Now, that begs the question. Of all the managers post Sir Alex, has he been the most successful in blocking out the noise?
I don't think anyone denies that he's got mental fortitude, and to have played for Manchester United, whether it was to be a regular substitute or be part of an elite side that won the treble in the Champions League, and ultimately to have gotten himself into quite a fortuitous position, not based upon any track record, but to have got the managerial role based upon disharmony in the camp because of the state of the club when Mourinho departed. Of course he's got mental fortitude. Of course he's got strength of character. But that's not the argument being advanced. Strength of character and fortitude can't supersede talent. They can run alongside it. Now, the argument I have is that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is probably the loveliest man on the planet. He's probably got loads of backbone and loads of character. I put him up against Tuchel. I put him up against Klopp. I put him up against Pep Guardiola. And he's a pale imitation.
Why do you say he's not good talent, though?
Because I think when it comes down to it, there is a way of communicating. There is a way of producing a side. There is a way of dealing with the media. There is a way of running a football club that illustrates a certain level of talent. And I don't think he has that. I think his communication skills leave a little bit to be desired. When I listened to him come on the pitch the other day talking to the cheerleader chorus of Rio Ferdinand and Joe Cole, and I just thought to myself, I'm listening to a very lightweight individual that doesn't give me any feeling of gravitas. Now, for me, if the United fans are happy with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and they believe that the project that he's undertaking, which will probably be completed about the same time as the finishing of the Doomsday Book, is one they're happy with, then as an outsider, who am I to be saying anything different? As an individual that's impartial, I look at Man United, and growing up with Manchester United being an elite side, okay, a little bit younger, they weren't in 1977 when they won the FA Cup against Liverpool, and they had that significant period with Dave Sexton, Ron Atkinson, a group of managers that didn't deliver any substance, and then they got it together with Ferguson, and then they became the poster boys for English football and for the advent of English football to morph into the Premier League, which is what it is now. And I now look at that and say, this is a vast departure, and I do not believe to bridge the gap with the guile and the passion and the leverage that Klopp brings in, with the finances that the Chelseas and Man Cities of the world bring in, and their elite management structures that they have too, that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is going to bring Manchester United back to the top of the pyramid. Now, that will either be wrong or it'll be right. Currently, it's been wrong. I said last year that they would win nothing. They won nothing. They had an opportunity against Villarreal, and I'm sorry,
and they blew that.
It was inexcusable to lose that game.
But you're not answering the question I put to you. Out of all the managers post-Ferguson, has he or has he not been the most successful in blocking out the noise?
How do you gauge success of background noise?
Look at Moyes, look at Van Gaal, and look at Mourinho.
David Moyes, you cannot put into the category. He took on the most poisoned challenge, got 8 months, and probably that's one of the most unfair dismissals that you probably can get. But move on to where the background noise is. He's insulated by the incumbent management in place, whereas Woodward has constantly supported him. And I believe there's an element of Manchester United fans have become slightly conditioned with a lower level of attainment, so their response to a lesser level of attainment is far less robust than it might have been. Yeah, I understand that.
And Woodward backed him.
And Mourinho.
And Woodward backed Mourinho.
Yeah, but what's your point? You're talking about background noise and the people's ability to be able to deal with it.
Because you're saying I'm saying
the background noise is diminished. The background noise we're talking about, if you want to make this observation, background noise is fan pressure, right? Fans will say they're not background noise, they're front noise, right? So let's just say that background noise is the fans' expectations and the build-up of the media expectation, right? Well, quite frankly, if you've got an ownership model that is constantly saying to you, you're the best thing since sliced bread, we're going to keep on giving you new contracts on the back of a level of attainment, which is winning nothing, then you're going to be able to deal with the background noise. And if there is an element of United fans, his expectations have diminished because they've forgotten what it's like to win the Premier League. They've forgotten what it's like to win the Champions League. And there's a generation of United fans that don't know or there's going to be a generation of United fans that don't know what it's like to win the Premier League unless they change the direction of travel that they're in. And
by doing what?
By getting a manager that is capable of embracing the challenges that are in front of him. And the challenges aren't just dealing with United fans, that who's in the other dugout and how you're going to beat them.
Is blocking out the background noise you're talking about, Jim, ultimately having the courage of your convictions? Is that what we're talking about? Because let's look about what he's done. Right, he decided Lukaku wasn't for him, gone. He dropped Pogba for long periods, when arguably he was the best midfielder, but decided to go a different way. Cavani brought in instead of trying to, whether he had the influence to go upstairs and get Haaland or Kane in, he didn't. He decided to get Cavani. Right, so he's making these big decisions. So yes is the answer. He has had some courage. He has blocked out the noise to a degree. But ultimately, it doesn't matter. It's nonsense. It's a nonsense question because what matters is who's the most successful manager since Fergie is Mourinho. He's won 2 trophies. Do United fans care whether a manager blocks out noise or not? No. Do they care about the team being asked?
But who's bridged the gap most? The players couldn't stand Mourinho and the fans disliked him.
So United now are being judged on getting them in the top 4. Is that
they're closer to the title than they've ever been.
Are they?
Jim,
of course.
This is not a popularity contest. There's 2 kinds of people in this world. There's popular people and there's successful people. And it's amazing how popular you become when you're successful, right? He's won nothing. End of discussion.
Van Gaal won an FA Cup. Mourinho won the Europa League,
and he won the League Cup, and he put them second in the league, which is the highest level of attainment that your boys got after 3.5 years.
So let me ask you this: are United fans today having Solskjaer a lot more than they ever had Mourinho or Van Gaal?
Sorry, are the fans
as their manager?
I think they're behind him, but I do think I think he's on that. I think he's on the plank.
Of course, he's been bloody backed
this season.
With temperance and some financial support.
There's no excuse.
But you're still saying he's not the man for the job.
Look, I said to you at the beginning of last year that they won't win anything. And I kind of adapted it a little bit when I realised they could get booted out of the Champions League and drop into the Europa League and get a second chance. And yet they still didn't take that. Now, if you're in a job, in any other job, and of course you believe in stability, but if the opposition are getting systematically better and their management structure is getting systematically better, then eventually you're going to have to get someone that's capable of competing with that. And if anybody tells me, you, him, or anybody else tells me that this guy is in the same quality as Klopp, Guardiola, and Tuchel, I think you're outside of your mind.
I think the only thing you could say is that under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, United have progressed since he took over to now. They are better
because he took over a disparate, dysfunctional environment that about 18 months earlier had won the Europa League, had won the League Cup, had finished second in the league. Everything was rosy in that camp. They'd given Mourinho a new contract, and then Mourinho couldn't get what he wanted, which was the Harry Maguire signing. Had a tantrum, fell out with Woodward. Everything became dark, and everything went from that particular point. He was brought in to turn the lights back on, and fabulously well done to him. He did. Right, to get a happy-go-lucky spirit in there. He was then given the job on the back of an away win against PSG, right? And from there, it's been the Emperor's new clothes. It is utter BS. It's
joint longest unbeaten away run in top flight football.
Yeah, but didn't
27 games.
We haven't won anything, Jim. It's irrelevant.
We don't win anything at this particular time.
Okay,
we're in August.
It's a bit like saying you go the whole season unbeaten, but you don't win any games.
You draw all of them.
Well, United,
you draw all of them and get 38 points, get relegated.
Even if he'd beaten Villarreal in the final, you'd still be talking it down this morning.
I would say to you,
I'd say
there's less. I couldn't run the same argument, could I?
No,
I couldn't say he wouldn't win anything. But my position has been: are United about winning the Europa League? Because I thought they were about winning the Premier League and the Champions League. And there is not a parallel universe, in my view, where this guy achieves that.
But you've just been talking about Mourinho for winning the Europa League.
No.
And the League Cup.
I gave context about winning something. If you've got an opportunity to win something, at least Bleeding will win it. If it's the tournament the Spurs are playing in, going to the Europa Conference League, you're in there now, go win it. That's your job now.
Yeah.
And if you're in a final, you've got to a final, you've got to
Mourinho
beat
won
Villarreal.
It by changing the way United play in that one particular game, going long, using Fellaini and bullying Ajax. Was Ajax they played? I think it was Ajax.
Yeah.
Got the game won.
So what's your point then? Do you actually think that he'll win the Premier League this year?
I don't think they'll win the Premier League, but they're more than capable of winning something. And you cannot not recognise 27 games unbeaten in top flight football. You cannot recognise that.
In a different context, in a different question, when you asked me a moment ago, I said, of course it's a good achievement. Okay, you've got to put it into context and make it nuanced that there's no fans in these stadiums. But notwithstanding it, he has not won and not lost in 27 games, but his home record hasn't been that great.
But you have an agenda against Ole, of that there is no doubt.
I have an agenda against...
And it does blind you.
I have an agenda against mediocrity being rewarded. I think there's something fundamentally wrong with that. I think there's too much of it in football.
Well, if that's the case, Jim shouldn't get paid.
You see
And
these
that's a very viable argument too.
Yeah, listen, you guys don't change the habit of eating your fruit during the show. Why not wait to the commercial break though? That's what I do. Mind you, for all you're saying, it's 11:20.
Jim White and Simon Jordan, Monday to Thursday morning, 10 till 1, on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app, and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.